Hello student, how are you? I hope you are safe and healthy. Today we are going to learn theory of supply. After going through this video, you will be able to know the meaning of stock and supply, individual and market supply, factor affecting supply, law of supply, change in supply and change in quantity supply, meaning of elasticity of supply and its type, calculation of price elasticity of supply, and factor affecting price elasticity of supply. So these are the part which we are going to learn from this video. Now the meaning of supply. Supply is the quantity of a commodity which is offered for sale at a given price during a particular time. The supplier or the producer, whatever commodity they have produced it, they offer to sell at a particular price but at particular time, and if it is so, then we will call it the supply, because there is a difference between stock, and the stock is refers to a total quantity of a particular commodity that is available with the firm at a particular point of time. So stock and supply are two different things. Stock are available but not ready to sell. That is the main difference between the supply and the stock. We take example over here to clear more uh, differences between stock and supply. We'll just take it that the supply is the stock, part of the stock which is actually brought into the market for sale. Stock never be less than the supply. Stock either equal to or less greater than the supply. For example, a seller has a stock of 5,000 pair of shoes in his warehouse. If the seller is willing to sell 30 pairs at a price of rupees 1499 per pair, then the supply of 30 pair is the part of total stock of 5,000 pair of shoes. So 5,000 here is the stock and 30 is the supply. So over here you put it in your warehouse or godown, and of which you have taken out 30 pairs for sale, and if you are offering that 30 pair at particular price, that is 1499, that become your the supply, and but remaining 4,970 pairs will be your stock, considered to be stock. Now individual and market supply. Individual supply is refers to a different quantity offered for sale by an individual firm at different price. Only one firm, whatever quantity he or she is offering for sale, that is known as individual supply, whereas market supply refers to the quantity of a commodity that all the firms are willing to sell or offer for sale at each possible price during a given period of time. So market supply means all the seller who is selling or offering that commodity at particular price at particular time, then it is known as market supply. Individual means only one seller, but there are different customers are there. There's that one seller is selling the commodity and at different price by at he is offering the different quantity at different price to the customer, that is known as individual supply. Now individual and market supply schedule. Individual supply schedule refers to the various quantity of the commodity offered for sale corresponding to different possible price of that commodity by an individual firm. You will see over here that Mr. P is one producer. He is offering the different commodity, different quantity of the commodity at a different price. So when 10 is there, he is willing to sell 50 units. When price is decreased to 8, he also reduced the supply, means he is willing to sell 30 units, and when price again come down to 5, he is willing to sell 10 unit, which is less than the previous. So if you go reverse order also, you will find when the price is increased from 5 to 8, he willing to supply more, and 8 to 10, he again willing to sell more commodity. So that is the individual supply, and individual firm willing to sell different quantity at different price, that is known as individual supply schedule. Whereas market supply schedule refers to the different quantity of a commodity offered for sale at corresponding to a corresponding possible prices of the commodity by all the firms in the market. All the firms, when they are selling it a different commodity at different prices, all together if we add it, or sum of all the individual firm supply, if we add it, then we'll get the market supply. For example, in the market you will find there are producer or the supplier, seller is there, P, Q and R, and when we are deriving market we have to add it, P plus Q plus R. So at price 10, at a price of 10, if P willing to sell 50 unit, Q willing to sell 80 unit, R willing to sell 120 unit, then market supply will be 120 plus 80 plus 50, that comes to 50. Same way, when price is reduced, then all the seller willing to sell the less commodity, and that's what market also selling the less commodity. So market supply also varying, responding as the price is decreased, the supply commodity supply will be less. So again 8 to 5, you will find all the seller is selling different less commodity as compared to previous price, and market, as we are summing up, you will find that also decrease. So market supply also responding in a positive ways, as price is decreased, supply also decrease, and when price is increased, supply also increase. So that is the market supply and individual supply schedule. Now we are going to learn supply function. Supply function is the functional relationship between quantity supplied of a commodity and the factor affecting supply of the commodity. It establishes the functional relationship between the quantity supplied of a commodity and the factor affecting supply of that commodity. So that is supply function. There are different factors like theory of demand. We have learned it there, that factor affecting demand. Over here also some factors are there which affecting the supply of a commodity. What are these? So this supply function is expressed in the terms of in express as Sx is equal to function of Px. Px means the price of x. Pf means price of factors of production, that is input, price of input or factor input. PO is equal to the price of other factor. ST, that is state of technology, and T means taxation policy, and N means number of firm, and there are several other factors are there which we are not mentioned over here. So these are the different factors which affect the supply of a commodity. If any one of them is get changed, then supply of the commodity will be changed. So the first one is the price, that is basically establish the law of supply, and there are other factors are there. There are other factors, that is price of input, price of other product or other goods, state of technology, taxation policy, number of firm. So these are different other factor which affect the supply of a commodity. So we classified over here, we take it, this is price is one factor, and the remaining one we call it the other factors. So when we establish the law of demand, we take it only the price of the commodity, and remaining factor, that is other factor, this is called the other factor, will be remain constant. So first we'll learn it the different factor and separately. So we'll go for the different factors in the next slide. First one is the price of the commodity. There are positive relationship between the price of a commodity and the quantity supplied of the commodity. Quantity supplied of the commodity, if quantity supplied of a commodity is increased with the increase in price, and the quantity supplied of the commodity is decreased with the decrease in price of the commodity. So it establishes the positive or direct relationship. If price increase, supply increase. If price decrease, supply decrease. Like we have learned in the theory of demand, that is an inverse relationship, that when price is increased, demand will decrease. When price is decreased, demand will increase. So over here it's a positive relation or direct relation. So that is the theory, is a price of a commodity, and it is affecting the supply of the commodity. It's a direct relationship or positive relationship. Next factor we have price of factors of production or price of input. So price of factors influence the supply. Since price of factor input, that is rent, which you call it the remuneration, that means land. If we use the land, we have to pay the rent. If we use the or hire the labor, then we have to pay the wages. And if you use the capital or take the loan, we have to pay the interest. And similarly, remuneration of the entrepreneur, that is the profit, opportunity cost, that is profit. So they are the different factors, and they are the cost of different factors, and that is the constituting the cost of production of a commodity. If any of the factor get price of the that factor price is increased, obviously cost of production will increase, and as the cost of production increase, then the supply producer will supply less because price will increase, and at the high price people will demand less, so producer will produce less commodity. So that's the effect, that if the input price is increased, the supply will be less, and if the input price is decreased, then supply will be more. So that is consequence effect is mentioned over here. The next factor we have the price of other goods. If a firm produces more than one product with its given resource, an increase in the price of other goods includes the firm to produce more of other goods to earn more profit, and the less of goods whose price remain unchanged. So that's the price effect, that if the firm is producing simultaneously other goods, if the price of the other goods is increased, and then the supply will be increased, and if the price of the other goods is decreased, then the supply will decrease. So that is the price of other goods. Next we will move to the next factor, we have state of technology. So when there is a technological progress in the firm, the cost of production will decrease, which lead to increase the profit margin of the firm, and thereby supply of the commodity will increase. In contrary, if the goods are produced with the old, primitive or inferior technology causing the increase the cost of production, then as a result your supply will be decreased. These are again consequence effect. If you use high technology in the production process, the cost of production will decrease. As a result, your price of the commodity will be less charged, and at the less price people will demand more, and the producer will supply more commodity. And the contrary effect is that if you are using the primitive technology or old technology, your cost of production will increase. As a result, your price will go high. At the high price, people will demand less, and you are forced to produce less commodity. So that's what the state of technology, role of state of technology in the supply of a commodity. Next one is taxation policy. Government different taxes they impose on the goods. Like we have right now, we have GST. There are different slab of GST is there. They are charging on the goods starting from 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 24 as well as 28%. So these are different type of tax government imposing on the goods and services. So if government imposes the unit tax per unit on the sales of output, suppose the unit tax imposed by the government is rupees 3. So I am assuming over here that if the government is charging per unit commodity of rupees tax of rupees 3 rupees, then if the firm produce and sell 20 unit of the goods, the total tax have to pay to the government is 20 multiplied by 3, that is 60 rupees he has to pay, which is the part of the cost of the production. Now if the unit tax is increased to rupees 4, so government is now increased the tax from 3 rupees to 4 rupees, then the firm's additional cost have to bear by rupees 20, because earlier they are producing 60, giving 60 as a tax. Now they have to beg, because of the tax increase 40 rupees, so 20 into 40 they have to pay 80 rupees. So there is a increase in tax that is 20, which is also influence the cost of production, part of cost of production. That means cost of production will increase by 20 rupees. So as a result, supply of the commodity will decrease because cost of production increment, supply will be decrease. Similarly, if the unit tax decrease, then the firm cost of production will decrease and the supply of the commodity will increase. So that's how the factor affecting supply of a commodity. Next one is the number of firm. If there is more number of firm is producing a particular commodity, the supply will be more definitely, and if there is less firm is producing a particular commodity, then supply will be less. It's very obvious things. If more producer is producing of a commodity, supply will be more, and if less producer is producing, then supply will be less. So that's how the factor affecting supply of a commodity. Now we are going to learn the law of supply. Law of supply states that assuming other things remain constant, other things means other factors remain constant, quantity supplied of a commodity is increased with the increase in price and is decreased with decrease in price. Thus, there is a positive or direct relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity supplied of the commodity. So now, like we learned it earlier in the law of demand, that there is a inverse relationship with the price and the quantity demand of a commodity. The same way, law of supply establishes the direct relationship between the price and the quantity supplied of a commodity. If the price of a commodity is increased, the supply of the commodity will increase and vice versa. So this is law of demand. But to establish law of demand, there are certain assumptions we have to assume it, because we assume it in the first line that other things remain constant. So what are these other things? So that is assumption of this law. So the price of other related goods should not be changed. The related goods price will not be changed. State of technology remain unchanged or same. Cost of production remains same. Goal of the firm should not be changed. Taxation policy of the government will not be changed, and different other factors, if it is remain, then that also number of firms will be remain same, uh, it will not be changed, and so likewise different other factors are there which will be remain unchanged or same. In that case, will be establish the law of demand, stating that there is a positive or direct relationship between price and the quantity supplied. Only price. Remember, only price. Other factors are remain constant. Now we'll further explain this one with the help of schedule and diagram. And in the schedule you have seen over here that at price, when the price is 10, your supply is 150. A firm is willing to supply 150 unit of a commodity. When price is decreased, you will find he is willing to supply less commodity, that is 100 unit. When the price again decrease, then again price supply will be decreased to 40 unit. Now reverse case, if you go, when the price is 5, firm is willing to supply 40. When price is increased to 8, firm is willing to supply more commodity, that is 40 to 100. When price is again increased 8 to 10, again firm is willing to increase the supply, that is 150. So that's how there is a positive or direct relationship. So now if you plot this point in a graph paper, you will find the supply curve is like that, a curve which moves upwards to the right. That's what it is saying, that the supply curve SS, positively sloped supply curve is SS, and that SS move upwards to the right as shown over here, that as the price is decreased, supply is decreased. If price is increased, supply will increase. So that's the supply curve. Law of supply is establishing the positive relationship between price and quantity supplied of the commodity. Now exception to the law of supply, and over here law of supply does not strictly to the agricultural product whose supply is governed by the natural resource. Suppose a crop season is get distracted due to the monsoon or flood, and because of that, if the price is increased, you cannot supply more commodity unless you wait for the next monsoon to come, and the crop production, if it is higher, then the supply can be possible. And that is the law of supply will not help at all for the agricultural product. Supply of the goods having social distinction will remain limited even if their price tends to rise. So if the social distinction is there, then even the price is tends to increase, you cannot supply more commodity. So that law of supply fails over here. Seller may be willing to sell more unit of a perishable commodity at lower price. If you are producing or supplying perishable goods, if the price even low, that commodity you cannot store it for longer duration. That's what you have to sell it even at the lesser price. More commodity you are selling it, whatever your supply or production is there, you have to supply it even at the lower price because you cannot store it. So these are the exception of law of supply. Now we are going to learn the movement along with the supply curve and change in quantity supply or change in quantity supply. So these are both same concept, movement along with the supply curve and change in supply curve. These things we have learned it almost similar to the theory of demand. Theory of demand also we have learned it, movement along with the demand curve and change in quantity demand. So these part almost similar over here, only thing positive relationship is there. So if the quantity supplied of a commodity change due to the price only price change is there, then it is known as the change in quantity supply. And these are basically classified into two, that is the expansion of supply and contraction of supply. The expansion of supply, when the quantity supplied of a commodity is increased with the increase in price, assuming other factor remain constant, is known as expansion of supply. It causes upward movement along with the supply curve. If supply curve is there, you will find there is a upward movement is there from E to F. You will find over here from E to F is the upward movement. Okay, so if the price is increased from OP to OP1, you will find that the supplier, the firm is willing to supply more commodity OQ to OQ1, and because of that point shifting is there from E to F, there is a upward shifting is there, and the same supply curve you will find point E to F is upward movement is there, and that's what is the expansion of supply. And as you have shown over here, that in the supply schedule the price is increased from 10 to rupees 15, the firm is willing to supply 100 unit to 160 unit. That's the expansion of supply. You will find it the opposite case in case of the contraction of supply. So in case of contraction of supply, you will find the quantity supply of a commodity is decreased with decrease in price, assuming other factor remains same. As you see over here that the supply curve is there, SS supply curve is there, and your supply curve is the, as the price OP is there, now price is come down to OP2, and that's what the supply is decreased to QQ1 from E point to A point. This movement is basically the contraction of supply. This downward trend, downward movement along with the supply curve is known as the contraction of supply. And in the schedule, as you see over here, that price is decreased, the firm or the producer is willing to supply less commodity of the goods. So that's the contraction of supply. Now the next one is change in supply or shifting of supply. You will find the shifting of supply or change in supply take place due to change in other factor. And these other factor are, we know it, other factor, the price of other goods, price of input, taxation policies, state of technology, number of farm. There are different factors are there, and due to which you will find if the supply is increased or decreased, then it is called shifting of supply curve or change in supply. And these are known as classified into increase in supply or decrease in supply. So what is increase in supply? Increase in supply, when supply of a commodity is increased due to favorable change in other factor other than price. Prices will be remain same or constant. Then if the supply is increased, then this is known as increase in supply. It will find that supply curve shift rightward, as we are showing over here that supply curve SS is there, and now supply curve is shifted rightwards as S1 S1. So that's the shifting of supply curve, and Why it is shifted rightwards? Due to the increase in supply, due to favorable change of other factor. That's what you will find the supply curve shifted at the same price. OP is remain same, only same price is there, it is same price. The supplier is willing to supply the more commodity, that is OQ2 OQ1. So that is the increase in supply. You see over here in the schedule, the price is remain same, 10 rupees 10 rupees. The quantity supplied is increased from 80 to 100. This is increase. So that's what the same price OP, the supplier or firm is willing to sell more commodity at the same price. Why? Because due to favorable change in other factors. Other factors are changed. Favorable change is there. Input prices decrease, taxes decrease, technology improve. So likewise, number of firm increase. So these are different factors are there, which is favorable factors are there, which helps to supply more commodity even at the lesser same price. Now next one is decrease in supply. Decrease in supply, you will find the when supply of a commodity is decreased due to change in other factor other than price. Prices remain same, there is the adverse effect of the other factors, and due to which the supply is get changed. And you see over here that the supply is, earlier it was SS and OP price is there, supply is OQ was there, now it is shifted to the change price, same price. You will find that sub producer willing to sell less commodity, OQ is there, and that's that supply is decreased. Why it is decreased? Due to adverse effect of the favorable unfavorable change or adverse effect of the other factors, and due to which at the same price the supplier, at the same price means 10, the supplier willing to say supply or sell less commodity over here. Earlier it was 100, now it is 80 unit they are selling it. Why? Because of the adverse change or unfavorable change in other factor. That's why the production get decreased. Now region of increase in supply or rightward shift, as we discussed earlier that rightward shift, why it is in fall in price of other factors of production, decrease in price, or fall in price of other commodities, improvement of technology, decrease in the tax rate, number of firm is increase, and region of decrease in supply or leftward shift of supply curve, you will find increase in price of other factors or factors of production, rise in price of other commodities, the use of primitive or outdated technology, increase in tax rate, number of firm decrease, and that's what you will find the leftward shift of supply curve or decrease in supply. So that's all the theory of supply part, and now we are going to learn the elasticity of supply. Now we are going to learn the price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity of supply is the degree of, refers to the degree of responsiveness of quantity supplied of a commodity to change in its price. So that is the degree of responsiveness to the quantity supplied of a commodity to change in price. It is, as I said, it is almost similar to the theory elasticity of demand. The same formula will be used, same way we will calculate it. Only thing, in the theory of demand there is a elasticity of demand is coming the negative coefficients, negative value, where over here is the positive result, positive elasticity of supply will come. It is because in the theory of demand there is a inverse relationship or negative relationship, that's why result comes negative. And in the theory of supply there is a positive relationship or direct relationship, due to which your answer will come over here positive, means answer means over here your the elasticity of supply will come positive answer. So there is a 5 degrees of price elasticity of demand. It is all you learn it in the theory of demand, and they are perfectly elastic supply, perfectly inelastic supply, elastic supply, inelastic supply, and unitary elastic supply. First one is the perfectly elastic supply. When infinitive change in quantity supply of a commodity as a result of a slight change or no change in price is known as perfectly elastic supply. The value of elasticity of supply is infinity. The supply curve is parallel to x-axis. It is almost similar to demand, as we have learned it in the theory of demand. You can refer to that. So there is a parallel supply curve is parallel to the x-axis, as same price OPX is the price, and with that price the firm is willing to supply any number of unit. So that's why the supply curve and supply value, I mean elasticity of supply, is equal to infinity. Now we will find the perfectly inelastic supply. When supply of a commodity is remain unchanged or constant irrespective to any change in price, that is perfectly inelastic supply. The value of elasticity is over here is equal to 0 and supply curve parallel to y-axis. This is again, as I said, that it is similar to the theory of demand, elasticity of demand. The degrees are almost same, and only thing the changes is their positive slope in the supply curve. So here supply curve is the parallel to y-axis, as you have seen that at any whatever be the price is there, at any price the supply is constant, it's remain same. Next one is elastic supply. You will find when percentage change in quantity supply of a commodity is more than percentage change in price is known as elastic supply, and the value of elasticity is greater than 1. The supply curve is flatter over here, as you saw over here, flatter, and it is intersecting y-axis. That part over here supply curve you have to produce it to show this one that it is the greater than 1, that supply curve is intersecting y-axis at any point of y-axis. It is will be learning this one y in the geometric method of measuring price elasticity of supply. So over here the supply curve is flatter, and because of that you will find at the price, as when the price is changed, the supply quantity is more. Degree of responsiveness of the supply is quite more. So delta Q is greater than delta P, and that's what the QQ1 is greater than PP1, and because of that your ES values, elasticity of supply, is greater than 1. Next one is the inelastic supply. When percentage change in quantity supply of a commodity is less than percentage change in price, it is known as inelastic supply. The value of elasticity is less than 1 and the supply curve is steeper, and over here the supply curve will be intersecting the x-axis. So any point on the x-axis it will be intersecting, and over here if you check it, the two changes, if you take the price change, PP1 is greater and QQ1 is lesser. That means delta P is greater and delta Q is lesser, and because of that QQ1 is lesser than PP1, and hence it is the elasticity of supply is less than 1. Next one is the unitary elastic supply. When percentage change in quantity supply of a commodity is equal to the percentage change in price, and that is called unitary elastic supply. The value of elasticity of supply is equal to 1 and the supply curve is moved from the origin. You will find the supply curve is moved from the origin, and that's what you will find it. So any changes over here you will find it is almost same. Two are apparently it's as you have not correctly measured, but then it is apparently looks like to be same, that delta P and delta Q will be same, and because of that your QQ1 equal to PP1, and due to which your ES values, elasticity of supply, is equal to 1. So that is unitary elastic supply. Now, how do you measure or calculate the price elasticity of supply? So this measure is two methods are there. Over here in supply only two methods are there. In theory of demand we have learned three methods, but over here is two methods. So over here percentage and proportionate method and geometric method. In the demand we have learned one additional method, that is total expenditure or total outlay method. But over here only two methods, that is percentage method or proportionate method or geometric method or point elasticity. So we'll first learn percentage or proportionate method. So under percentage method, the elasticity of supply is measured by using this formula, and this formula is ED is equal to ES is equal to delta Q by delta P multiplied by P into Q. It is almost same formula as we learn it in the theory of demand. So delta Q is equal to change in quantity supply, delta P change in price, and P is original price, Q is original quantity, and delta Q is equal to Q1 minus Q. Q1 means new supply, and delta P is equal to P1 minus P, that is P1 is new price, And alternatively we can calculate this percentage or proportionate method. It is equal to the percentage change in quantity supply divided by percentage change in price. So percentage change in quantity supply is equal to delta Q by Q multiplied by 100, and percentage change in price is equal to delta P by P multiplied by 100. So that's how the percentage method, the elasticity of supply is calculated. It is almost similar, as I said, it is almost similar to the the elasticity of demand, and the same way we calculate. Only difference is in the elasticity of demand, the elasticity of demand value is comes negative, whereas the elasticity of supply, the value of elasticity will come positive. So that is the difference. And why it is? Because in the demand there is a negative relation or inverse relation, over here is direct or positive relation. This is how the theory of supply and theory of demand is differentiated. Now we'll take one example over here, and the price of a commodity is rupees 40 per unit, and quantity supply is 200 unit. If the price is increased to 50, the quantity supplied also increased to 250. Calculate its price elasticity of supply. So if you go for we take the information, you will find the original price is 40, over here 40 and 40, and original quantity supply is given over 20. So 200 unit. So 200 unit. New quantity supplied is 250, as question is said that quantity supplied is increased to 250 unit, and the new price, as question is said, new price is increased to 50. So now we'll find the change part. We'll find delta Q, and change in quantity demand is equal to Q1 minus Q, that is 250 minus 200, that is 50 unit, and delta P is equal to, that is P1 minus P, that is 50 minus 40, that is rupees 10, and therefore ED or ES value, ES means over here elasticity of supply, ES is equal to delta Q by delta P multiplied by P by Q, which is delta P is 50 by 10 multiplied by 40, or if 40 means your original price by original quantity. Original quantity is your question given 200 units. So this 200 original quantity, over here also we have mentioned. So if you calculate, you will get the value is over here 0.1. So therefore elasticity of supply value is positive 0.1. We move to the another question, that is question 2. Over here quantity supplied of a commodity at a price of rupees 10 per unit is 1000 unit, and if the price is fall by 20%, the quantity supplied fall by 200 unit. Fall by what is there? Remember, this by means the delta. This by means delta. Even previously I have said it. By means you have to remember it. So calculate its price elasticity of supply, and is it supply elastic? Give reason for your answer. So we'll find it over here, given that original price is 10 and original quantity supplied is 1000 unit. New quantity supplied is that is 1000 minus, because it is decrease or fall, 200 unit is decrease. So we have new supply is equal to Q1 is equal to 800 unit, and percentage change in price is given minus, fall by fall means minus, so minus 20%. So now we have to calculate the ES value. Now delta Q is equal to Q1 minus Q, and Q1 is 800 minus 1000, that is minus 200 unit. So that part is by what is there, that's why I said it by means your decrease a change. So and it is fall by fall means minus, that's why you can take it directly instead of calculation part. This part you can directly you can use it over here. Fall means minus, by means delta, and 200. So delta Q is equal to minus 200. Now same way percentage change in quantity supplied is equal to delta Q by Q multiplied by 100, which is minus 200 by 1000 into 100 will get minus 220%. And if you put this value in the formula, you will find percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price is equal to minus 20 by minus 20 is equal to 1. So ES value will get it over here 1 value. So since the US value is 1, that's why it is unitary elastic, because over here it is given is that supply is elastic. Yes, it is unitary elastic, and the value of ES is equal to 1. Yes, ES is equal to 1. So that's the question number 2. Moving on to the next question. A firm is supplied 120 unit of a goods at a price of rupees 15 per unit. Suppose price elasticity of supply is 2. What is the price? At what price will he supply 480 units? So over here you have to find the new price. So as per the question, original price is given 15 and original quantity supplied is 120. New quantity supplied is 480 units. Elasticity of supply value is given 2, and we have to find it what is the new price, that is P1. We have to find it. Now based on this we will be calculating the delta Q is equal to Q1 minus Q, that is 480 minus 120, we will get over here 320, and delta P is equal to P1 minus P1 value is not given, we have to find it, it become variable, and minus 15. So we will keep P1 minus 15 as delta P value. And now if we find it, or if we calculate the ES formula, if we put it ES formula, ES is equal to delta P by delta P, delta Q by delta P multiplied by P by Q, and if by putting this value of ES is equal to 2, and delta Q is equal to 360, and the delta P is equal to P1 minus 15 multiplied by 15 by 120 is, if you calculate, go on calculating, you will find 2 is equal to 45 by P1 minus 15, and by solving this one you will get 2 P1 minus 30 is equal to 45, or P1 is equal to 75 by 2 is equal to 37.5. So new price, therefore we will get new price is equal to 37.5 rupees. So that is the answer for this question number 3. The next question is, a firm is supplied 100 unit of a goods at a price of rupees 20 per unit. When the price is falls to rupees 15 per unit, its total revenue, remember over here not Q1, total revenue is rupees 120, 1200. Now calculate the price elasticity of supply using percentage method. So over here total revenue is there. Total revenue means you earn it by selling the commodity. So at the new price is given, so new price is given 15. At 15 rupees, how many unit you can sell it so that you get the 1200 unit. Like if you are selling say 10 units of pen at a rupees of 5 per unit, so your total revenue, therefore 10 into 5, that is 50. So same way we will calculate total revenue if it is equal to TR, total revenue is equal to P into Q. So P is given over here is 15. P means over here P1 since it is new, and Q1 you have to find it. So P1 into Q1, if you find it, then your total revenue, the quantity supplied means Q1 will be total revenue divided by price per unit. So 1200 divided by 15, you will get Q1 value is equal to 80 units. So that is Q1 value. So likewise, when total revenue or income is given, earned is given, revenue is given, then you have to use this formula to find the number of unit or price, which one is given. Sometimes unit given, price not given, new price is not given, so you have to divide by unit over here. Total revenue divided by Q1, you will get the new price P1. So likewise we will calculate over here, we will continue. So quantity supplied is 80 unit at new price of 15. As price is decreased, the supplier willing to supply 80 units. So percentage change in price is equal to delta P by P into 100, which is 15 minus 20 by 20 into 100, you will get minus 20%, that price decrease, and that's what the supply also get decrease, and supply is decreased using calculating the percentage delta Q by Q into 100. So 80 minus 100 by 100 uh, into 100 again, so that is gives you the minus 20%. So using the formula ES is equal to percentage change in quantity supply divided by percentage change in price is equal to minus 20 by minus 25% is equal to 0.8. So the elasticity of supply for this question is 0.8. Now geometric method of measuring price elasticity of supply. Under geometric method, the elasticity of supply is measured on a straight line supply curve using the following formula. Formula is the intercept on x-axis with the initial quantity divided by quantity supplied at new price. We need not calculate all these part, only things you have to remember it, that if your supply curve is intersecting at any point of x-axis, then it is greater than 1. If the supply curve intersecting y-axis, then your supply ES value under geometric method is greater than 1. The calculation is over here, using this calculation is there. We are not going to learn this detail over here, you learn in future, or if you have any query or someone is interested to learn, we can discuss this part in the next one also, next video or next WhatsApp call. I can teach you that how to calculate this one. So simple part to remember, that if your supply curve is intersecting y-axis, then it is greater than 1. If supply curve intersecting at any point of x-axis, it is less than 1. Yes, value is less than 1. And if the supply curve is moves from the origin or derived from the origin, then it is at any point of making any angle. Remember, your question comes that if it is making angle of uh, say 60%, and one supply curve is making angle at the origin at 45%, which elasticity of supply is greater. So student get confused over here. Both are started from the origin, irrespective of making any angle uh, except 90 degree, then it should be the acute angle less than 90 degree, and in that case your ES value is equal to 1, whether it is 20 degree, 15 degree, 90, 45 degree, 60 degree, 75 degree, whatever be the angle does not matter, all value will come same, that is ES equal to 1. So that is the geometric method. So only three elasticity of supply is measured, because two extreme part we cannot measure over here, and that's what the first one is elastic supply, second one inelastic supply, and third one is unitary elastic supply. Elastic supply is measured only when your supply curve is intersecting y-axis, and inelastic supply is measured when supply curve is intersecting x-axis, and unitary elastic supply is derived from the origin. So as you have see over here, that supply curve over here is intersecting y-axis, so its value will come ES greater than 1. And over here the supply curve is intersecting x-axis, so you find your ES value will be less than 1. And your another supply curve, say S1, and it is moves from the origin, that's why is equal to 1. So that's how the 3 degree can be calculated using geometric method of price elasticity of supply. Now we are come to the end of this chapter, and the last content is the factor affecting the price elasticity of supply, or the magnitude of price elasticity of supply. The first factor, you will find the nature of commodity. The elasticity of supply to some extent depends on the nature of commodity. For example, perishable goods has inelastic supply because their supply cannot be increased or decreased within a shorter duration. So while the supply of durable goods is elastic. Likewise, the supply of agricultural goods is inelastic, where it is the elastic in case of industrial goods. So for perishable goods supply is inelastic, for durable goods supply is elastic, agricultural goods supply is inelastic, for industrial goods supply is elastic. Cost of production. If the cost of production rise rapidly with the increase in output, then there is a incentive, that the less incentive to raise the supply with the increase in price. In such cases, supply will be inelastic. However, if the cost of production is increased slowly with the rise in output, the supply will increase with the rise in price. And in this case, supply will be more elastic. Now next point is time period. In the market period, supply of a commodity is perfectly inelastic, as supply cannot be changed immediately with the change in price. So basically talk about the shorter duration and longer duration. In short period, the supply is relatively less elastic as firm can change the supply by changing the variable factor, and in case of long run or long period, the supply is more elastic as all factors can be changed and supply can easily be adjusted as per the change in price. So that is time period. Now we'll go to the techniques of production. In simple techniques of production are employed in the production of a commodity, its supply will be elastic. Simple techniques if it is there. On the other hand, if it is complex techniques or difficult or high technology which is difficult to change in supply in response to the price under the complex techniques of production. So the for complex techniques of production, supply is difficult to change it uh, as and when price is increase or decrease in that case, whereas simple techniques of production, supply can be changed immediately as and when price increase or decrease. Available of resource and facilities. The production of a commodity require adequate resource and some other facilities like irrigation, power, transportation, banking, etc. The producer feel handicapped if their absence or shortage is there. Hence, the supply becomes inelastic. On the other hand, if the resource and facility are easily and adequately available, then the producer can easily respond to any change in price. So that's all the factor affecting the price elasticity of supply or the factor affecting the magnitude of price elasticity of supply. That's all this chapter. I hope you have enjoyed it, you learn it, and you go on practicing the numerical question. If you have doubt, you can let me know. I will be definitely there to help you. Thank you.